Hi everyone. Again, I would like to encourage all of you to turn on your cameras. Within 1 minute, we are going to start the event, and it would be great if we can see your beautiful faces. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. So let's go back to the history. In 2000, during December, at the UN General Assembly, we all know that UN adopted the date May 22nd as the International Day to celebrate biological diversity. And as it is a very important day, we, given Sri Lanka, thought of celebrate this year Global Biodiversity Day in a very uh, in Sri Lanka. We founded it in 2010. I mean, given as the global platform we founded in 2010. Series 20 given is officially recognized as the international coordination platform to participation in the Convention on Digital Biodiversity, CBD. And if you go to our Instagram handles and accounts, we have we have continued for your policy change. And folks who can join with us to understand the surrounding biodiversity and understand how you, uh, as you can contribute to our mother nature. So, coming back to the this year, we started that this project called Diversitaz. It is a big project where we work from trees specifically candy. At the same time, we together on same date, 19th May. Now we using this application called Naturalize. We did our recordings. We started archives. We started observed species, plants as well as especially the animals around us. Today we are looking forward to hear and also share the results. We are going to have feedback and we are going to have into findings. And first, let's go with the presentation we have. With all the results we have placebo, and we have from Diversitaz. And if you is so the distance and geography and Barcelona, this is a time to share what we did in 2024.
Hello, Tanya. Can you give me the access to share the screen?
Sure.
All right. I hope you can see the presentation, right? Right?
Now, yes.
We can see. You can zoom it.
And am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So yeah, thank you so much everyone and for participating for the event, and thank you Tanya for the introduction. And it's me Pasindu from Global Biodiversity Network Sri Lanka chapter, and I was the one who coordinated the Bioblitz event. Actually, if I talk about the Bioblitz that we decided, actually we was thinking about doing it physically, but because of some sort of reason, we decided to do it at our home gardens because that we don't know what we have around us. There are so many surroundings, species that around in our home gardens, and even during the project, I was updating because the whole day, 2 days was fully raining. So it was a really big challenge for everyone to observe and go for it. So we gave tips to observe within the houses and those kind of tips anyway. So the we really wanted to let the members and the participants of the Bioblitz to know about their surrounding. So the name was, we decided that Diversitaz, and actually the idea was presented by the Tania. She suggested the idea. Thank you so much for that. And we did it with the iNaturalist, and I will start my presentation. And so there are some new people, I guess, in this program, because I guess almost there are 48 participants and now 49. So so many participants are new here, and only like 16 members participated for the Bioblitz. And I will first define what is Bioblitz. So Bioblitz is an event that focuses on finding and identifying as many species as possible in a specific area in a short time period. So this short time period, the maximum time period is 24 hours. This Bioblitz is a really popular event during the worldwide. So many countries are doing different kind of initiatives. If you have participate, there's a moth week, different kind of observing events. If you are familiar with those kind of citizen science platform like iNaturalist, eBird, and those kind of sort of things. So Bioblitz is actually this was adapted by, I guess, mostly done by the National Geographic Association Society, and I guess that it's one of the main events that they are organizing. Bioblitz is really popular, as I said. And for an example, actually these photos are from I from a Bioblitz that I conducted at my school, and in 24 hours, actually we did, this was like around 10 hours, and we did doing the surveying and photographing the insects and other kind of non-interested on, that most people just interested about the birds, butterfly, like that. But during the Bioblitz, because we can't see so much bird species within a home garden or a specific area, so letting them having the interest for the little creatures and improving them through citizen science initiatives is one of the main goals of the Bioblitz. So during our Bioblitz, the main aim was to document biodiversity within the participants' home gardens and making them aware of the biodiversity around them, as I said to you. So it was just like simple steps, actually. You just have to go to your home garden and have some photos, record some calls of birds, or maybe if you have a bat detector, you can upload bat detector echolocation calls to iNaturalist, those kind of little things. So you just have to go out, or maybe inside your home, as we most of us did during the Bioblitz. We absolutely observed within the houses, as I said you, like the geckos and little insects. We just observed, photographed, and uploaded them to iNaturalist. And we did the identify part, actually. The people who participated for the event got a little knowledge about identifying, but they did a really great job. And I want to thanks to my fellow identifiers at iNaturalist, who based in Sri Lanka and different kind of countries, who participated and gave their contribution through identification and share it. You guys saw that we did different kind of updates in a WhatsApp group, and sharing the facts and the observation that we did. So sharing this knowledge, and that I observed this one, I observed the centipede, something like that. So that's the most interesting part, and we can tell to the world that there's a certain biodiversity, and we can improve ourselves and like empower ourselves that we have a specific area and like we have biodiversity around us. We can study on them. So something like that. So after that, so this was the interface of the Bioblitz account, and you can see that the account preview is this, and 13 observers actively participated for the Bioblitz within the 15 members who joined for the project, and like they observed 113 observations. And here in the map of Sri Lanka, you can see the those members observed areas like the home gardens that they had. So like you can see that I guess candies from our Milakshi Akka and Colombo, Tania, Ashadi Akka, and people observed from there. And like, so that's how it went. And here, these are the stats that we got, 113 observations and 87 species within the 113 observations. So like here you can see the groups of the animals that we observe. So like as always, insects are the most diverse species and the number of species that we observe. And like that, and I forgot to tell that we actually extended the BioBliss as 2 phases. Like we did 2 days in 24-hour sessions. So like these observations are within those 2 days. And here are the most observed people, like Sakunta Shehar won the first place in the BioBliss by 22 observations, and Metta Mihisarani by 20, and Chatumi from 18. And I like to thanks for everyone for contributing this, because you guys had the passion to contribute through these kind of initiatives. Actually, this would have been so much fun if we came together physically and do this in a particular area or something like a challenge, something like that. That's really, really interesting. So like even without that, you know, it was super raining, and I was glad for having the decision to having it as an online one at our home gardens because of the rain. Anyway, like we had this good result. I won't say like really good, but this was actually enough with those kind of rains and like with all the disasters. So like I really appreciate you guys' efforts, and congratulations Sakunta for having the first place, and Sakunta and Metta Mizarani have observed the same number of species within their home gardens, 15 species. So that's a really good thing. Like within 22 observations, they have observed 15 uh, species. So that's a really good one. So if I will just there was so many observations which are really interesting. I just selected a few, and here you can see 2 endemic ones that we really don't care much. I mean, like we, as I told you, like we mainly focus on birds and mammals like that, but you know, amphibians also. Like I know there's a really good audience for the reptiles and amphibians, but this is Pseudophylotus rust that we can observe around Kandy area, and commonly it's known as Candian stuffed frog. You can like easily find these guys in your home garden during the rain or during the night, definitely. So like just as you can see, it's on a little shrub, and like there will be so much frogs in Kandy area. Actually, if you go out, like there are so many faunal species within your home gardens. As even I told for the Kandy people, like just look around your bathrooms if they are outside. So like there can be I guess Pseudophylotus cavicerostris, as I remember the scientific name, and like they can be found inside the bathroom during the rain. And like, you know, Polypdatus maculatus, Polypdatus, once we can like easily observe them within our home gardens with our like anthropogenic habitats. So this is genus Allopoma. You can easily identify this snail by this ramshell shaped tip at the end of its body. It's like this is the main identification fee for the Olopama genus, and this is an endemic snail species. Actually, like this is really like there are a few species within Sri Lanka, and like the Olopama iteria, as I think this is species, and like it's really good to have this kind of we don't really think about the snails. Like snails. We really like, most people don't like because it's like smelly or like a disgusting feeling for most people. But these are really valuable for Sri Lanka because they have a whole uh, endemism within the Sri Lanka and have a few species, as I said. Like it's really good to have these kind of endemic species within your home garden for your studying purposes. Like you can do different kind of studies with these kind of endemic animals. So like this was the interesting one, that most interesting observation that I saw. This is observation by, you can see clearly a common rose swallowtail is dragged by a Pexipus spiculis jumping spider. This is a jumping spider, really, really small. I contacted Sakuntha and asked like, what's the backstory? He just have seen that this guy is dragging the common rose on the floor. Like maybe it killed it, or maybe like it was already killed and it is dragging the rose swallowtail. So like this is a really impressive one, because like you can see like how you can imagine how powerful salvicid is, like this kind of small one. Like when it comes to spiders, they are really like, they have really good strong, and like they are really good hunters. So like you can have a clear idea by this small observation how it works. And like nature is amazing, definitely, like this. So this is like invasive species in Sri Lanka. And like you can see like INS is actually providing little tips for particular observations. And like you can see that this was introduced in Palindanuara and arrived in the region via anthropogenic means. So like this basically, this means like the species can be found only in anthropogenic capitals, something like that. So like this is Asian giant snail, and this is like you can definitely find one inside your home garden, definitely. So like these ones are related with anthropogenic habitats, and like really a big like a threat, I would say, to our biodiversity around us in our home gardens. But it's, we can't like just remove them. Like they happen to be inside our home gardens, definitely. I don't think there's a way to do it, but guess that I don't remember the common name of the English one, but Aticupula and those kind of birds are eating this one, as I remember. So like these are two more species that we can definitely like interesting ones we can find around our home gardens. First one is Asian common dot. Every one of you know, like Gigemba. And like during the rain these days, you can definitely have one or two guys inside your home if you are lucky enough, I would say. So like these ones are coming inside your houses with the rain, and like stay for the warmth at the corners of the or the edge of the walls. So like you can like observe these ones even at your backyard or inside your home houses. If you observe good, like definitely you can find these ones in your backyard during these kind of rainy days. And this is an evening bat, actually. Like Sakunt also has observed this. And you can see that this is pipistrelle species, pipistrellus. So like these bats can be found between the little gaps in our houses. And like definitely like there are like if we come to a colony of these bats, there are like more than 20 or 30, I would say. Like a really good group of bat colony. So like that's another interesting observation that I saw. And these three species we can definitely like observe within our homes if we have some shops and all. And I mean, interesting one, the middle one is a really invasive species in Sri Lanka, horntail snail. That's a really disaster. You can like find plenty of them, like even during the normal night time, just you can observe them. And first you have Calotis versicolor, which is also like we can always find with anthropogenic habitat types. And like here you can see it. And for the third one, there's a lynx spider, Oxyopsis species. You can easily find these guys under the leaves of the in your home gardens, definitely. Like it's easy to observe these kind of little spider species within your home garden. So here's a lynx spider, I guess. You can see that here's a knot they have uploaded. I guess Elena have observed this one. Like in iNaturalist, you can provide different like little notes for the identification purpose or the document purpose for yourself or for another one. So like you can see like spread on a guava tree seem to jump when agitated, distinctive strips on its legs not clearly captured in this picture. So like you can give a little description for the identification purpose and for the other ones. So those are the interesting ones. There were so many, but I just chose some of them. And here, Diversity Rocks, there's a whole campaign going on with GYBN, Global Youth Biodiversity Network, about these initiatives like Diversity Rocks. And here I got a collage of all the species that observed within the Bioblitz. You can see like this is diversity. So like simply after you see this photo of the collage, you can clearly say that this is diversity. You can see different colors, different body shapes, and like different species. So this is what diversity means. And I guess that the Bioblitz was really good for like with the rain and everything. I guess actually like it was a really good number, I would say, like with the rain and everything. So I really appreciate again for the people who gave their strength, energy for this. So most observations was done by Sakuntha, and both species, most species records were by Mehta and Sakuntha. And congratulations both of you for having the first place in both categories. And overall perceptive, I would say like as I said, you like this was happened with many challenges, and I'm really happy for everyone contributing by their own ways for the Bioblitz. Even like Bioblitz is a new term for our country, I would say. Like we haven't done citizen. There's a whole challenge going around the world as City Nature Challenge, but we still haven't got steps to do that in our country. So like we can like in future we can definitely have that kind of initiatives. And like this is I'm seeing this as a start of a really good project, like not just a project, a really long-term initiative that we can definitely encourage others. Like yeah, the participants who participated for this Bioblitz, I would say that they saw some kind of a interesting biodiversity within their home garden. So you have a whole home garden. Yeah, you have a backyard. Yeah, if you don't have a backyard within the house, you can definitely find some kind of different species. That's really easy. Like I sent you different kind of video clips during the Bioblitz. So like inside our house, we can find spiders, moths, and like maybe some like evening brown. Sometimes they come into our houses, so something like that. Geckos, and like also like sometimes cat snakes are coming inside the houses, and like different kind of little creatures are coming inside our houses. So even within inside our houses, we can definitely observe some sort of biodiversity, and that can definitely motivate you to document your backyard biodiversity. So like do it from now. You now know how to download the iNaturalist and making accounts and all the things. So you just have to go out and observe, study these, and doing self-studies most importantly. Like without self-studies, it's really hard to like learning these kind of like identifying and structures. And so I guess for the more like almost like I said, overall you will have to do the self studies and update yourself in this field. So I guess I saying good luck to everyone and do this. Have iNaturalist, so you just no need to have iNaturalist. Maybe you, if you have the capacity, you can definitely like do by yourself, documented biodiversity within your home gardens. Or maybe you can definitely use a citizen science concept or a platform like iNaturalist eBird or something like that, just to like also seek by iNaturalist is another good citizen science tool you can use. So like you can choose these kind of different tools and start your own work within your home garden, and you have the capacity, you can do that. So I'm telling good luck to everyone, and thank you everyone for contributing to this amazing initiative. And thank you, Tanya, for conducting this event. And thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Pasindu. First, I want to ask whether am I audible?
Yeah,
Is it?
got it.
Yeah, please excuse me. It's heavily raining and I'm not able to turn on my camera and speak. So, Pasindu, thank you so much for that enlightening journey from guiding us with the iNaturalist application to sharing us about how to archive those pictures to information to presenting the presentation, the results today. You did a very effective job. Thank you so much for that. And next, I would like to go to our participants. I would love to listen to your experience. This is your time. So let's go with our first participant. So, by the way, I wanted to say these participants were selected from all the participants specifically after analyzing all of your work. So, congratulations on your great job first. And yes, let me share the screen. Can everyone see the screen? Hello?
Yet, not yet. Okay, now we can see.
Yeah, now we can see.
Okay. Yes. So, Vinod, would you like to go first?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe turn to the next slide. Turn out.
You
Yes,
can hear me now?
Vinod. No is yours. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good evening, all. I am Vinod Madhav, and I am an undergraduate student in Vaunia University, and I'm studying about the environmental science. So that's why I am more interested in the GYBN community and this project. And after I seen about the project, also in home garden, work with the iNaturalist website, it's love to do. No, so I joined with the group and registered for the project. Then project was started and I observed my garden in my free times. It's very helpful and interesting work. Some butterflies are very difficult to capture to camera, but I waited for a long time and captured those butterflies. Uh, iNaturalist website is new for me. From this community, I identified, and it's very valuable to explore the world biodiversity and also our studies helpful more. And I want to thank you guys because of you guys we joined with the iNaturalist website. In the future, we planning to do one research about the dragonflies in the dragonfly diversity in our university premises. I thought it's better we can create one project with iNaturalist and work with that. Yeah, Pasandu Ashintaka, we think that project will run and we hope to do nice work. This community is very helpful for that. And so thank you guys to this opportunity and this project, and see you again with another interesting work. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vinod. I think it's the true success we feel after getting this as an inspiration. If this is an initiative which inspired you to do more impactful initiatives like you are going to do, I think it's the true happiness for all of us. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. And we wish you all the very best. I would like to invite
Thank
Shatumi.
you.
Welcome. Shatumi, are you there?
Yes, I can.
Yes. The floor is yours, Shatumi.
My name is Chatami and I'm a student at the University of Vavania. So today I'm here to share with my experience from our recent gardening biodiversity project. So it helped me to get more knowledge about this project. and through the lens of my camera, I embarked on a journey of discovery to capturing the beauty and complexity of nature in our own backyard. So each photograph give me a story. Example of my experience. I found a moth adult version and how they're making eggs and their egg version. So every plant and insect animals plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. So I think as environmental stewards, our responsibility to preserve the biodiversity. So this project helped me to understand the biodiversity and how to protect this. I think thank you for allowing me to chance this experience for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chatumi, for sharing that inspiring story. And we wish you all the very best. And next we have Madhura. Madhura, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, Madhura. How was it? How was the Diversitaz 2024?
Thank you, Tanya. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here today celebrating World Biodiversity Day with all of you. As part of the Bioblitz organized by Sri Lankan chapter of GYBN, I had the opportunity to venture out into my own home garden and capture the diverse array of living creatures. I took photographs of all sort of stuff like colorful caterpillars and sneaky lizards. Basically, there are tons of different living things on Earth, big and small, and they all matter. It's like a giant game where everyone has a has a part to play. By looking for these living things in our own backyards, we can learn more about how cool nature is. This BioBlitz event was awesome because it get us outside and thinking about protecting the environment where we live. By working together, we can spread the word, help each other out, and take steps to keep all this amazing life around. Even in my own garden, I found so many different things, from tiny plants to yummy curry leaves. So everything fits together to make our gardens special. So today, let's celebrate all the different living things on earth and promise to take care of them. Together, we can make a difference and keep our planet healthy for everyone. Thanks for listening and caring about nature as much as I do. Let's keep exploring and protecting all the amazing life around us. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhura. I was literally imagining when you were talking about the surrounding curry views and all. And I'm glad that you mentioned about the shared responsibility we all have as you. Again, congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Then we have Sakuntha. Hello, Sakuntha, are you there? Till I contact her, we can go ahead with Metta. Metta, are you there?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, you are.
Um, Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. from Baduraliya, and I'm third year undergraduate and Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. And actually, I came to know about Bioblitz through the Facebook, and then I joined with the group and did some spottings. Especially, I was joined with this project because I had enough time to do sightings and submit them because I'm staying at home in these days. So it was a great opportunity to me. Although I have using iNaturalist app since like 2 years time, but this is the first time I joined with this kind of project with the iNaturalist app, and I was looking forward to take many sightings and upload them, but unfortunately it was a rainy day. Both of days were heavily rain, but I tried my best to do sightings, and all of my sightings are taken around my home garden, and it was usually found in my home garden. As I remember, some problem species and two or three dragonflies and damselfly, like some two butterflies like that. Uh, but I'm not a professional in this field, or I'm not expert in this field, but actually I joined with this project because I want to know new things, and I want to identify many species around with me. And also entomology is one of my specialized subject in an undergraduate program, and personally I am passionate in natural science. That was the main reason for I joined with this project. And this is I think this is the second time I joined with this kind of project. I mean, taking photographs and uploading sightings, like things. And then since 2023, I am participating for University BioQuest. It is also this kind of project. Not actually not the project. It is a game using these and making identifications. But this was totally different from the that. And it was actually it was a great opportunity to me. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for giving this opportunity to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meta. It was so nice to listen to the journey from beginner. Now you have become this experienced person, and I really hope you will be able to continue good work you do. All the very best. And Sakuja, are you there?
I think it's not here, Tanya.
Yeah, right. So I guess before moving to the most section, discussion, let's have a group picture, right? And everyone turn on your cameras. We share the background image with you. You can use it as well. Let's take some few minutes and get the screenshot.
Okay. Can everyone switch on the cameras?
Guys, please switch on your cameras and give some support.
And you can have a beautiful smile on your face. Okay. Shall we take the photo? I hope, I think the others are not gonna switch on. Are we good to go?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, okay. Smile. Okay. Yeah. I think we'll take one more, please, because let me share you. Person, can another person also take person maybe, so we can have, because I'm having a little network issue also, so yeah.
Yeah, right. I will try my best as well from my end as well. Well done. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. So let me take one more.
You can do some actions too, right?
I think it was pretty.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you took,
Let's-
right, Tanya?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much then.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can everyone see the screen?
Can see the previous slide, Tanya.
Okay.
You mean the insights one.
Yes. So let's move into the panel discussion. First, I would like to welcome Mr. Rukmal Rathnayake. He is an environmental consultant and also a conservation biologist. And also we can say that he's a nature educator, a wildlife documentary filmmaker, and he's a wildlife artist and ecologist, fauna specialist, and the list goes on. So somehow, when we were doing our Bioblitz project, we had questions, and we really wanted some insights of experts to get feedback for our initiative. Mr. Rukma, so we were thinking about how do different types of home gardens in Sri Lanka, I mean, urban versus rural, impact the diversity of bird species observed during our BioBlitz, and how is this relationship between invasive species and native wildlife in home gardens? Would you like to share uh, your feedback and what do you think about the questions we were thinking when we were doing the BioBlitz project?
Okay, Tanya. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me for this program. And I appreciate very much your efforts, both your efforts and the efforts of the participants. So it was very interesting. I admire a lot. So I hope these participants will continue wildlife observations and contribute conservation as well. Okay. So for your first question, yes, there are different types of home gardens. I think, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. There are different types of home gardens in our country. As you mentioned, we can categorize them as urban and rural. And also, those home gardens vary according to the climatic zones as well. So, in those home gardens, you find different types of habitat conditions and microhabitats. Some are in the wet zone, some are in the dry zone, some are in the intermediate zone, some maybe in the arid zone. So climatic changes also vary and the elevation varies. So the structure of the home gardens also different from each other. So there are different types of tree species, plant species, and different temperature conditions. So the bird diversity varies according to all these variations. So, and if you take around Colombo, you will find only very resilient species. I mean, they are, for example, the crows. The crow is very resilient. It can adapt to any condition, any environment condition. It is not very sensitive animal. It can feed anything it can find. And sometimes you might have seen crows making their nest with the hangers and plastic and wires, iron. They use a lot of artificial materials to nest, so they can adapt to any environment condition. But if you take species like red-faced malakwa or blue magpie or aranga, so those are very sensitive species of birds, and they prefer particular habitat conditions. So you can find them only in rural home gardens. So those are the features of both in rural and urban home gardens. And I think I will discuss some more information in my presentation as well. And so shall I move to the other question? So you have any other
Actually, I only had that question and I got the answer. If the audience, they don't have any more questions, we can go ahead with the presentation. If there are any questions, you can raise your hand. Let's wait 1 minute. If not, we can move forward.
And I have to answer your second question about the invasive species, no? So
yes.
Okay. So there are different kinds of relationships between invasive species and native species. Some are harmful, but some animals, some native species interact with invasive species with harmony, and they use the invasive species for their benefit. For example, if you take a fruit bed, it feeds on a pond apple plant. Pond apple plant is an invasive species. It's a fruiting plant. It grows in wetlands. So it has a yellow color fruit. Not only fruit bats or the fruit-eating birds also feed on this fruit. So they rely on this food, and also their fruit bat disperse the seeds. And if you take birds like open bills and green imperial pigeons, they nest on this pond apple plant. So likewise, and if you take another one is there's a butterfly called tail jay. That tail jay butterfly also lays eggs on the invasive pond apple plant. So the native animals are getting some benefits from those such invasive plants. So when we plan to control these invasive species, we have to consider about those ecological connections as well. For example, if we clear invasive species in one day. So the animal species, the native animal species who are getting benefits from that invasive species will come in trouble. So another example is lantana plant. Lantana camera, we call it gandapana. A lot of butterflies feed on the nectar of that flower, and birds like red-vented bulbul, konda kurulla, fruit-eating birds feed on the lantana plant's fruit. So there are such connections between invasive species and native wildlife.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that explanation about those relationship and those chains. I think personally, we like in my experience, we easily not notice those things, and when you were explaining that, we realize the importance of those chains of lives. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mr.
Okay.
Rukma. And we feel free to ask now. If not, we can move forward to the next segment. I believe, Mr. Rukmal, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Okay.
I don't see any questions from the audience.
Okay, then
Yes.
I'll share my presentation. Please provide me permission to share my slides.
Okay, we'll do now. Is it working now?
Oh, now I can share. Can you see it?
Yes, we can say it.
Okay. So I'm going to describe about the animal diversity in home gardens. So I think you can see these interesting pictures. Can you see the dog macaque sitting like the owner of the garden, not like an animal? And there are some false vampire bats on the roof, and there is a cat snake or Boiga forestani, the forestani cat snake or the Nagamapila on the ceiling. So all these are home garden animals I have found in various places. So this is the content of my presentation. So you have done a good job by observing a lot of species. So I decided to teach you some good tips to improve your observation skills. That is my first section. And the other section is, I thought it's good to provide you the information about the importance of these various species and their ecosystem services, how they are important to humans, and the threats they face, and how we can support their conservation. So that is my second part. So okay, so let's move. These are the subtopics under my first main theme. First, I will explain you how could you improve your observation skills by gaining knowledge and learning techniques and using equipments. And you have to practice some qualities to improve your observation skills. And the second section is what you should observe. So you have observed, you have tried to identify this species. So you can go beyond that. You can study their behavior, ecology, and you can get more information than species identification. And you can do a good service for the society by sharing your information. So I'm going to explain you how you can make field notes, journals, and publish your findings. So this will be the first section. Let's go into the details. Okay. So to do better observations, you must gain a lot of knowledge. For example, if you know, let's imagine you live in Colombo. So Colombo is in the wet zone of Sri Lanka. in Colombo district, you find wetlands and there are lowland rainforest. So in Colombo area, you will find lowland rainforest species, wetland species. So if you know that kind of information, you can search for those particular species. You can read books, or you can find refer literature and find which species you can find in the lowland bed zone or Colombo district, and then you can explore more to find those species. So likewise, you have to get an idea about the distribution of animal species. That's one thing. And you have to study the animal behavior. So for example, we all know owls are active at night. So if you don't know owls are active at night, you may go in the daytime in search of owls. So that may be unsuccessful. For like that, you have to get an idea about the animal behavior. Then you can easily find animal species or record them. And there are seasonal variations. For example, in dry season, if you take dry season, you won't see much butterflies because butterflies need plants to lay eggs. So they prefer tender leaves. So if the environment is too dry, they can't lay eggs. The caterpillars can't feed on there. So during the two dry seasons, you can't find a lot of butterflies. Even in the heavy rain in season also, you can't find butterflies because the heavy rain washes away the butterfly eggs. So you have to choose an intermediate time period of the year to study butterflies. So like, and even fish, if it's too dry, you can't. It's easy to it's easy to observe fish when the water is in the moderate level. If it's too dry, most of the fish die. So if it is too rainy, the fish disperse high. So you can't observe species because they are highly dispersed. So you have to choose the moderate seasons to find the observed fish as well. And so, for example, there is a migratory season for birds. If you want to observe and record migratory birds, you must know, you have to find which months are better to find the migratory birds. So likewise, you need knowledge to improve your observation skills. And you have to study the classification and taxonomic notes and identification features to differentiate from one species with another. So likewise, you need knowledge. So that's my first point. And then you have to study and practice sampling techniques. So I think in this your project, you have just observed the species. We can consider them as opportunistic observations, as I know. I don't think you have practiced any formal method. So there are some formal techniques to study and record biodiversity. For example, line transit, circular plots, plot clearing, and permanent sampling plots likewise. For example, if you take line transit, you choose a transit of about 100 meters and you walk along this 100 meters and record the animal species with the distance you see them. And if you take a circular plot, you stay stationary at one point and you record all the species in a fixed radius. For let's say you record all the birds you see within a 50-meter radius circle likewise. And when you study reptiles and small animals, you can mark a quadrant, a plot, and you can turn all the logs, leaves, and find for the small amphibians and reptiles like species. That's what you call plot sampling, plot clearing method. And we can repeat this sampling again and again. If you want to monitor the changes in a particular habitat or ecosystem, you can fix a permanent sampling plot and study it over and over again. Maybe you can study for several years, for several months, for several seasons, for several rain seasons. Likewise, you can fix a permanent sampling plot and do the observation continuously. And you can use camera traps. An ordinary person can't do this because it's expensive. You have to buy the camera traps. So you have to take permission from the Department of Wildlife Conservation or Forest Department or Central Environment Authority for these techniques. Then you can, by setting the camera traps, you can get a lot of interesting observations. You can record the species which you can't see in the daytime. So that's very interesting method. And you have to get the practice of using equipment like GPS, binoculars, spotting scope, likewise. So this is another tip to improve your observation skills. Okay. Now, these are the options you can gain your knowledge. I think some of you know some of these things. So you can refer research papers, guidebooks like these on the screen. So you can watch documentaries. Yeah, a lot of interesting documentaries like BBC, National Geographic, Discovery. So you can attend online lectures about wildlife, and there are organizations like the Young Zoologists Association or Butterfly Conservation Society or WNPS. There are environment organizations like this. So you can join to those organizations and get knowledge, and you can get university education as well. So these are some options you can take to enhance your knowledge. And you need some special qualities to observe. So now you are working with animals. The animals don't know that you are harmless. They are scared of humans. So you have to be patient. You should not make a lot of noise. You have to keep your step very silently, and you have to practice ethics. So we have to prioritize the welfare of wildlife. So we should not disturb them. For example, if we go too closer to a bird nest, the nest can be disturbed. The adult birds may leave the nest without continuing incubation of the eggs. And if we hang around a bird nest for a long time, some animals like crows get their attention to the nest. So after we go away, the crow will come and attack the nest. So such things can happen. So we have to be very careful about our behavior when working with wildlife. Okay. And if you want to do observation in a protected area, you have to get the permission from the relevant government authority. This is not applicable for the home garden studies. It is applicable if you are working, if you are doing some further studies on wildlife. And you have to wear proper clothing. If you wear bright colors like red, orange, yellow, the animals will get scared. So you have to wear earthy colors like green, brown, ash, black. And also you have to consider your protection as well. We are going in the wild, we meet animals, so you have to wear boots to protect from snakes and other small animals, and you can wear long sleeve shirts. Otherwise, there are itchy leaves and caterpillars. You can get harm from those species. So you have to be careful about your clothing as well. And you may have to wear leech socks to protect from leeches, likewise. Okay. So my next subtopic is what you should observe to study wildlife. So most of you look at the live animal. Sometimes we can record species by indirect observations. I mean, you may find eggshells, bones, feathers, scales, footprints, scat. So you can identify species with those indirect observations as well. And you may need to take measurements. You can take length, and it's difficult to take weight, but you can guess. And also you can't touch every animal to measure the size, but you can compare with the known animal. For example, if you find an unknown bird species, you can record it as, for example, it's smaller than a crow, but larger than a minor bird, like that. So you can get the observations on size as well. So next time, try to record the indirect observation as well. And the shapes. Here's an example. The black color bird is an eagle. by looking at the features, by looking at the shape of the beak and the posture, we can guess it's an eagle. Okay. Next one is behavior. So you have to record the behavior as well. Then you can find very interesting observations. So behavior means how they feed, how they walk, how they swim, or how they move, and how they breed, how they attract mates, how they make the nest. So those are the behavior. So other than recording the species, you can record the behavior as well. Then you can find the interactions between the individual of the same species as well as between other species. And the ecology. So this, I mean, for example, if you look at this image at the left side, if you look at the image about this, there's a forest actually. This is a image of the Sinharaj rainforest. There's a, can you see, there's a purple faced leaf monkey, black color monkey on a tree. So these monkeys live in the canopy. And the brown color bird is called spot twin thrush. It is a ground dwelling bird. It does not come to the top of the, or it does not live on the canopy of the forest. So each animal species live in different levels. So actually, it is called resource partitioning as well. Not only in the forest. If you take a water column, some species of fish live in the bottom of the water column. In this picture, you can see the common spiny lodge. It lives in the bottom, close to the surface. So the animal species live in different habitats, and my social structure is very different. For example, if you take a troop of purple faced monkeys, there is only one adult male and many adult females. There are no more than one adult male if you take a purple faced leaf monkey. So, but if you take a top macaque troop, there are several adult males and several adult females. So their social structures are very different. If you take some birds, they live as small flocks. Some live as pairs. So you have to observe those social behaviors as well. And you have to observe the roosting sites, or where they rest and where they breed, where do they make the nest. So for example, there are bird species which make nest inside your home. So if you take Sri Lanka swallow, it make the nest with mud balls. So, sometimes we can see the nest inside buildings. So likewise, you have to take the observations of their roosting sites and breeding sites as well. Okay. And then you have to record the observations properly. And in the initial stage, I recommend you to practice writing a field notebook. So then you can gather a lot of information. So don't do only, you can take photographs, you can do illustrations, but you have to do a field note as well. Then you can improve your knowledge. For example, you can in the field notebook, you can sketch animal species, you can mark the colors, you can note down the shapes, and you can write down this information. So date, time, and the exact location. You can use GPS, or you can use the GPS in your phone, and you can write down the habitat condition. And the microhabitat. So if your home is in the wet zone, you may find some wet zone trees, and you may find the animal in the canopy, or you may find the animal on the ground. So likewise, you can specify the habitat and the behavior. Also, you can record the number of individuals, whether you find one or few or a flock, and the interactions between species and between individuals. So you can collect those information and you have to use a pencil, because if water, the field notebook can be damaged by water as we are working in the field. So if you use a pen, it is dangerous because it can ruin your notes if it gets wet. So you can use a small size notebook, and after collecting field notes, you can enter those notes into a journal like this. So you can gather the information in your field notebook, and you can refer some research papers, websites, and find some more information, and you can do a better illustration like this, and you can develop a journal like this at home. Okay, then you can publish your findings. So you may write a research paper, and you can write an article to a magazine like this, and you can start a YouTube channel, and you can share your observations via social media, and you can upload them to iNaturalist and eBird. So you can use a lot of platforms to publish your information. That is very important. So then someone can get the use of it. Then you can do a service to the society as well. So someone can use your information for conservation purposes. So try to publish your information as well. Okay. So this is my second section. I'm going to talk about some common animal groups, their features and their importance, the threats they face, and how we can support their conservation, or how we can attract them to the home garden, and how we can conserve, how we can contribute to ensure their survival. Okay. Let's see about birds. So some birds feed on fruits. They are called frugivores, and some feeds on seeds, some feed on insects, some feed on other animals. So they contribute to balance the ecosystem. For example, fruit-eating birds disperse the seeds, and some species feed on nectar, so they support pollination. And raptors like eagles and insectivorous species control the pest, and they balance the populations of other animals as well. So here is now this is an example for the difference between home gardens, difference between the urban home gardens and rural home gardens. For example, the blue magpie. Blue magpie, you find this bird in Singharaja and similar rainforest, but you find it in the home gardens around Singharaja rainforest. So that is a good example for the difference between habitats. So you can support the birds by these practices. You can fix a bird bath, but I don't recommend to feed them. We should not feed them with artificial or human food, because they can cause health problems. This is applicable for other animals as well, not only to birds. Especially, this can initiate conflict with animals. For example, if you feed macaques or rilla, they tend to steal food from humans, because the animals are scared of humans. But when we feed them, that they lose that feed. Okay. So when we feed them, they can taste our food, and they get attracted to our food, and they tend to steal. Sometimes they tend to destroy the crops. So we should not feed them with human food. Instead, we can plant trees, our native trees, which can provide them food. And also we can fix artificial nest for these birds. As in this image, you can make artificial nest with wood and fix in your home garden. Some animals may come and breed. Now the mammals. I have put elephant slippers as well because in rural home gardens, elephants come to your home garden. In some areas, leopards come and catch dogs. So again, this is an example for the difference between rural and urban home gardens. So we can't welcome all the mammals because there are considerable conflicts between mammals and humans. So if you take this is an insectivorous bat, so they not all the bats do not feed on food. There are about 30 species of bats in Sri Lanka. Among them, 4 are food bats, other are insectivorous bats. So they feed on insects. So they support us by controlling insect populations, and the fruit bats support the ecosystems by seed dispersal and pollination. So, and wild boar is a scavenger. It cleans the environment. And leopard, the predators like leopard, prey on other animals and help to balance the ecosystem. And if you take a monkey, this is a purple-faced leaf monkey. It mainly feeds on leaves. So when they eat the leaves, they naturally trim the trees. When you trim a tree, it increases the flowering and fruiting. So even farmers trim their fruiting trees to gain more food like that. Likewise, monkeys in the jungle do that trimming for the forest naturally. Elephants also do the same. Elephants also contribute seed dispersal. So those are the services provided by mammals. And we can support the survival of home garden mammals by these methods. Like birds, you can fix artificial roosting sites for bats as well. And you can plant trees, fruiting trees to provide them food. My next group is reptiles. So if you take snakes, they control other animal populations and balance the ecosystems. So if you take a water monitor, this black color lizard is a water monitor. It is a scavenger. It also cleans the environment. Also, it acts like a predator. So, now, this yellow color lizard is called hump-nosed lizard. It's a wet zone species. Normally, it's found in forest. So you can't find this species in urban home gardens. You can find it in rural home gardens in wet and intermediate zones. As you can see in the top right image, it's a bark gecko. It is feeding on a cockroach. So
Mr.
these
Rukmal,
reptiles help. Yes.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. This is to remind the time. By any chance, will you be able to cover the important ones within 5 minutes? Next 5 minutes?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Next, the amphibians. So amphibians, lot of amphibians lay eggs in the water. So we can use amphibians as bioindicators of water quality because a lot of the amphibians prefer very clean water. So if we find a lot of amphibians in a water body, we can decide that the water is good in quality. And they also help to balance the ecosystem by predating on other species. And fish. Fish is also can be used as bioindicators of water quality, and they also feed on small animals like mosquito larvae and help to balance the ecosystem and support us by controlling mosquito populations. Dragonflies. Dragonflies also lay eggs in water. So they both adult and early stages of dragonflies feed on adult mosquito and mosquito larvae. So they also help to balance the ecosystem. So you can support them. You can support this aquatic species by constructing pond in your garden, but you have to make sure to control mosquitoes. So you can facilitate both dragonflies and fish to control mosquitoes, and this pond will support other animals by providing drinking water. My final group is butterflies. So, as you know, a lot of butterflies feed on nectar, but some species feed on juices of sap of leaves and fruits. So, some species do mud sipping, and some butterfly species prefer dark environments. Some prefer sunlight. So, if you're going to attract butterflies, you have to plant nectar bearing plants as well as butterfly host plants. Host plants means the larval food plants, so where the butterflies lay eggs. And if you want to attract the species which feed on tree sap and or fruit juices, you can plant necessary fruiting plants. So likewise, you can attract biodiversity to your home garden and support conservation. Okay. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much,
Tanya.
Mr. Rukmal. I believe really the knowledge you have, we can like finish it within these few minutes. Hopefully, really looking forward to have you for another Bioblitz projects we are going to have in future. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Uh, I would say it was seriously great. You really encourage us to explore and identify plants and animals in our gardens. And you went to the next step, publications, and gave some very sustainable solutions. So thank you so much for that support, Mr. Rukmal. Thank you so much for
Okay, yeah,
accepting our
Tanya.
invitation.
Welcome.
Yeah. Then we
Okay,
are
thanks.
moving. Thank you so much. To Dr. Himesh Jayasinghe. He's the founder and the first president of the Butterfly Conservation Society of Sri Lanka. And he was an irrigation engineer by profession and a graduation from University of Moradua. Dr. Himesh, are you here?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you want to share the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Himesh, hold on. You can try now. So, Mr. Himesh, Dr. Himesh, when we were doing the BioBlitz, one of the questions we had was from participants, we realized the question was, what are the most common native plant species found in Sri Lankan home gardens, and how do they contribute to our local biodiversity? And participating in these BioBlitz in Sri Lanka home garden, how we wanted to know how it can increase the awareness and action toward local conservation efforts, because you all are working on the fields and you know the practical and realistic aspects of these initiatives, the impact of it, and we would love to improve our understanding on that. So it would be great if you can share your expertise with us.
Okay. The first question is quite difficult to give an exact answer because Sri Lanka, I'll explain in my slides as well. There are so many plant species. Mostly we have flowering plants. So if we take flowering plants only, they are exceeding 4,000 species in Sri Lanka, including the introduced species. So if we take home gardens, I can say about there are about more than 500 species in different places of the country, because Sri Lanka has a very rich biodiversity, and you can see that in my presentation. There are 14 forestic zones in Sri Lanka. So we are still studying on the dry zone forestic zone, because actually at the moment dry zone forestic zone is considered as a one zone, But now we know that there are more specific areas within the trizones as well. So not only that 14 zones, there are many, nearly about 20 zones that we can be identified. So according to that, we have so many plant species in our home gardens. And again, other thing is that when we take quite larger home gardens, you may see some tree species, but in even a very small home garden, there are so many herbaceous species you can find. So within those things, there are native plant species as well as certain introduced naturalized plant species as well. So when we are identifying those plants, you need to take detailed characters of those plants, and then only you can go to identification. I'll explain what are the details that you should record to identify plant species, and I'll give some references to look at, and then so on. You can identify those species within your home garden. And other thing is that there can be some undocumented species even in home gardens in Sri Lanka, because certain people brought, unlike a lot of animals, certain plant species can come into Sri Lanka in certain ways. So there may actually still we are adding the plant species to our checklist. Some are actually new species in the forest, and others we can find even in Colombo area. There are certain new introductions to the country. So we still, that's why I said that I cannot give exact answer what are the common species in home gardens. There are about 500 species, I think, we can count commonly around our home gardens. And your second question is to increase the biodiversity within your home gardens. Actually, it depends on the size of your home garden, what you can plant. And you can plant some rare plants in those home gardens. So one is that there are certain wild plants with ornamental value. So you can plant them in your home garden as well. Another thing is that certain plants that attract animals like butterflies, then birds. So you can plant them as well. Actually, most people think that if you plant fruiting plant, birds will attract. Actually, when we take birds, most of the species are not frugivorous. There are frugivorous birds such as brown-headed barbet. So if you want to attract birds, we don't have to plant fruiting trees, but not only those, we have to plant other trees that attract several small insects such as butterflies, other flies, because most of the birds are feed on. If we plant a fig tree, there are certain lot of insects coming into that. So barbers come to eat the fig, but other birds such as bee eaters, then flycatchers, they come to feed on the insects, feed on those figs. So that's how you can increase the biodiversity within your home garden. It depends on how much area you have. How depends on how much area you have. You can select what are the plant species that you can plant there.
Yeah, Miss Dr. Himesh, it was very clear, and the answer was very realistic. So, Actually, that's all I had from my end when it comes to questions. But I would like to ask the audience if you have any questions related to two questions we just shared, or anything you want to ask from Dr. Himesh, feel free to raise your hands. If not, drop them in the chat box. We can ask at the end of the session. Dr. Himesh, I believe we can move forward with the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, I will. Okay, I have given the permission actually.
Actually, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, let me see. Okay, check now.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can you see this now?
Yes,
Okay.
here.
So, actually, Rukmal explained the basic things that you should follow when you are identifying and doing work in the field. So, based on that, I mostly concentrate on plants, the features that you need to look at when you are going to identify those plants. Actually, this is the basic thing I am explaining. And first of all, you have to identify a certain plant or an animal to work on it. So this is the basic thing. After identifying a certain plant or animal, you can carry on work on their behavioral studies, their population studies likewise. So this is the basic thing that you need to gain when you are working on wildlife field. So here I am basically focusing on flowering plants. Actually, as I said before, in the tropical countries, most dominant plant group is flowering plants. In the world as well, there are so many flowering plant species, but abundance of flowering plant species are quite less in temperate countries. But in here, tropical countries, we have so many flowering plants. So here we are talking about identifying those flowering plants, and it is then if you went into the flowering plants, you can start working on other plant groups as well. So these flowering plants called higher plants as well, and again it is called angiosperms. So basic characters of these flowering plants is they produce seeds. Okay, then they produce flowers. Actually, the flower produce a fruit, and within those fruits there are seeds. So another thing is that there's a thing called endosperm within these seeds. So uh, that is the thing that need energy to plant a plant without uh, taking food sources from outside. So these are the basic characters of flowering plants. So in Sri Lanka, uh, we listed more than 3,000 native species. About 860 out of them are endemic to the country. Actually, these endemic species are concentrated on wet zone, both in the lowland as well as in the mountain areas. And there are certain endemic species are distributed even in the dry zone as well. So apart from the native species, there are more than 1,000 species that have been introduced to Sri Lanka as food plants such as jackfruit, coconut, some as timber plants, some as medicinal plants, likewise, and others are introduced into the country accidentally, and they are naturalized in our environment, such as balunakuta. So here I am saying, giving you some references to identify some plant species. So there are illustrated field guide called Illustrated Field Guide to the Flowers of Sri Lanka. This contains 3 volumes. Actually, the volume 1 contains the most common species found around home gardens and townships. And in volume 2, it contains some common species as well as some species found within the forest. And when you go to the volume 3, mostly those plants are quite bit of rare. And other thing is that some tree species are included in that volume, because mostly the first 2 volumes are concentrated on herbaceous and shrubby plants, because most people can observe flowers within those plants. So if you start to work on identifying plants, volume 1 is the best. That is the volume contains the commonest plants surrounding your area. So other thing is that it is quite easy to look at plants from this field guide, because amateurs can take this guide as a very quick reference, because all the species are arranged according to the color of the flower and then on the according to the number of petals. So you need not to have very scientific knowledge on a species classification to identify plants from these field guides. And other thing is that there's a website called Flora of Sri Lanka. So in this website, there are more photographs of more than 2,000 species that can be found in Sri Lanka. So you can look into those plants and identify what are those species. So to get into these plants, you need to have some sort of background scientific knowledge to find the plants that you are going to look at in this website. And other thing is that there is a Facebook group called Flora of Sri Lanka. So if you want to identify a certain plant, you can upload your images to this Facebook group, and there are certain people that who knows the plants, and they will provide you the name, and you can continue with those names from this Facebook group. And if you want more scientific data on those plants, you can go into this website, Plants of the World Online. This is maintained by the Kew Gardens of England. So if you want to get the most updated scientific name, global distribution, and images of the specimens, you can go into this website and look more details. And there's a series of publications called a Revised Handbook to the Flora of Ceylon. Actually, it contains 14 volumes of about 500 pages each. So these are quite too technical book series. So amateurs cannot be get information easily from this one. But if you want to go further studies, you can refer to these publications as well. And these are the things that you require to have when you are identifying plants. Most of them are described by Rukmal, and apart from the things that he mentioned, you need a hand lens, because you need to see very tiny things in those plants. So these are the floristic zones of the country. You can see there are so many floristic zones. Depending on that zone, you may find different species. And other thing is that you need to record habitat and microhabitat. Actually, within home gardens, there are not much diverse habitats, but within that you can find different microhabitat. That means there may be some sunny places or shady places, and there may be muddy places, and there may be dry places. Likewise, there may be different microhabitats within your home gardens. Depending on that microhabitat, the plant species that are growing can be different. And again, you need to look at the habit of the plant. So habit is what type of plant that is. Maybe a herb, grass, then it could be an aquatic plant. Then there are some bushes and shrubs, vines and big trees, and there are some epiphytic plants. So those are the habit of the plants you need to record. And most of the plants you can see leaves. So you need to record the details of these leaves, especially the leaf blade and petiole, all those things. I'm not going into the details here. And one thing you can look at is the leaf arrangement. Each and every plant species have different leaf arrangement. They have several names, but don't worry about the names. You just need to look at them and sketch them. So then you can easily identify the plants. And there are several leaf types. Simple is the most dominant plant type, and there are peripinnate, imperipinnate. Likewise, there are certain leaf types. So you need to sketch those to identify those plants. And there are various types of leaf shapes. So this is another thing that you need to observe when you are going to identify plants. This is the overall shape, and also you need to look into the other features as well, such as venation. So number of veins and pattern of those veins you need to be thorough of. And other thing is that thickness of the leaves. Some are very thick leaves, some are papery. So depending on that, you may see veins or not. So these are different types of thicknesses that the plants that are having. And again, you need to look at the leaf margin. So they have different shapes depending on the places that the plant are growing and plant groups. And again, you need to look into the shapes of leaf tips. Mostly in the wet zone, you can see most acute leaf tips, but in dry zone, you may see some truncate or reduced leaf shapes, because that's a factor matter on rainfall. And another thing is that leaf bases can be different shapes. You may look into those as well. So that is the thing that you have to look into the leaf lamina part, and then there are petiole, කොළේ කියන්නේ මේක. So you have to have different shapes, stipules and sheaths. So these are the things that you need to look into. And actually these are the stipules. Stipules are function of the stipule is to protect the young leaf bud. So when the leaf get grown up, the function of the stipules not going to be wanted anymore. So most of these stipules are falling off. So you need to look into the young leaf shoots when you need to get leaf stipules. And these are ligules and leaf sheets. So these characters can be seen in monocots. ඒ කියන්නේ එක බීජ පත්‍රී ශාකවල තමයි මේවා ඔයාලට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. And then we move on to the inflorescence. So these are different types of inflorescence. The basic structure is the solitary simple flower, but මල් කිනිත්ත කියලා කියන ඒවා you have different types of spikes, racemes, panicles, likewise. And these are some more inflorescence types. And other thing is that you need to look at where these inflorescences are coming out. Some are axillary, some are terminal, some are on the branches, likewise. So this is another feature that you have to look into. So this is the basic flower structure. So though these things are in whorls, actually the outer whorl is the sepals, which we call the calyx as well. So outermost one is sepals, and then comes the petals. Then the inner row is male part of the plant, that is filaments and anthers, and in the middle there is the female part of the plant, that is stigma, style, and the ovary. So this is the typical flower. But the thing is that not all these features found in all the flowers. Certain features are lacking in certain flowers, and there are certain other things that are not common, but they are found in certain types of flowers. And this is the one thing that you need to remember, that there are mostly bisexual plants, but in certain plant species there are male flowers and female flowers. Even then, there are arrangement of these male and female flowers are different, because on certain species male and female flowers are in different plants, but in certain others these male and female flowers are on the same plant, but they can be in different places. So this is one example. You can see that the flower structure is quite different. In the male plant of this Philanthus plant, you can see there are 4 stamens, and in the center. And in the female plant, you can see the ovary, the yellow color thing, and on top of that, you can see the stigma. Another thing is that here this plant has 4 petals on the male flower and 6 petals on the female flower. So these are.
Excuse me, Dr. Himesh. I'm really sorry again. I'm interrupting. Will you be able to cover things within next 5 minutes, if possible?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Actually,
so much.
I have to speed up, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, thank you so much
Okay.
for understanding. Yeah.
So this is certain in top of this page there are certain croton plants. So here you can see that both male and female plants in the same flowering spike. On top part is the male flowers, and on the bottom part is the female flowers. And at the bottom, this is a timbiri plant. So you can see that in this timbiri plant there are certain trees that have male flowers, and other trees have female flowers. And then you can look into the flower shapes. So they are very much different in each and every one. You can sketch up these things. And other thing is that color of the flowers. So in this Undupiria plant, you can see most commonly the purple flowers, but occasionally you can see white flowers as well. There is a variation within a single species. And when you go into this linear plant and Velangiria, you can see that color changes with the age. So that is also a common feature in certain plant species. And there are certain flowers that don't have petals. So these are not the petals. If you look at carefully, you can see these are the sepals. So sepals act as petals here. So you need to look into them carefully. And these are different types of fruits. I am not going to explain in detail. Here, some are edible, some are not edible. So those are the features that you can look into that. And other thing is that I'll explain these 2 types of fruit because they are quite interesting. So these are the the one that in the first image on the left is a typical fruit. That means a single flower born into a single fruit. But the collective fruit is quite different. Like in pineapple, you can see that this whole bunch is the inflorescences. There are so many flowers within this. So collectively, all these flowers make a single fruit. So that's the collective fruit example is the pineapple. And other thing is that aggregate fruit, like katuata, actually this fruit born from a single flower, but this flower has many ovaries, not a single ovary. So all these ovaries are collectively made this aggregate fruit. And certain plant groups have very identical seed shapes and patterns. So these are the several Iliocarpus, that means Veralu types within Sri Lanka. Most of them are endemic. You can identify the species from the shapes and patterns of these fruit surfaces. And other thing is that when you go into the tree species, you need to look into the bark shape and bark pattern. So yeah, especially if you go to the rainforest, you need to have good idea of the bark details, because you are very rarely see the leaves of the plants. And when you go into the climbers, you can look into the features that how they climb up. That these Yakadavel have hook-shaped things, and Pussel have a tendril that is born from the midrib, and this Caravilla plant have other stipules grown up into a tendril, and this Portavel have very small roots to hang into the tree. So likewise, they have very different features to climb up the trees. So you need to look into them. Another thing is that mostly the flowers and leaves have different types of hairs. They have different features. So you need to have handlings to look into these features. So this is another very important factor to identify plants. So these are certain examples. And other thing is that finally there may be very special features like smell of the leaves, and there are certain trees with saps, and there are spines, and there are certain nectar glands. So you need to observe these things as well. And these are the special things when you look at the underneath of a verlu leaf, you can see these domatia. And other thing is that shape of the stem. This karanda stem has a very zigzag pattern. So those are very special features that you can identify. So I speed up this talk quite a bit. Perhaps you may not get details. If we have a leisure time, we can discuss more. Okay. Thank you for listening to it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Himesh. I know, right? I think we all have to meet in person, hopefully. But thank you very much for your enlightening presentation on the importance of these these species in our home gardens. Because these insights were very informative and also very inspiring, encouraging us all to take actionable steps toward biodiversity conservation. We really appreciate your contribution to our event. Those volumes you shared, the websites and the patterns in seeds, they were very interesting to listen, because personally I found it interesting. I was not that conscious when it's come to observing plants. So these kind of observations, these new learnings, I believe they make us more conscious individuals. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Himesh, for accepting the invitation. And now Yes. Okay, so now we can move to the Q&A segment. If you have any questions you want to ask, um, please let us know about GYBN Sri Lanka or about the project we did. We have Pasindu, he can explain, and we have our special speakers. If you have any questions, you can ask now or drop them in the chat box. Vinara, you had a question, right?
Yeah, the question like for this society, do we like get to share our pictures like it was like
Are you talking about the Bioblitz project we did?
yes,
I think Pasindu can help you.
I'll talk to you later then.
Okay, okay. Do you have any other questions?
No,
Okay. We'll definitely speak to you after the event, yeah. Okay, let's wait 1 minute more. If you have any questions, you can ask. Mm,
Hello.
hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Divakara, we can hear you. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions?
I have a small question. I want to ask Dr. Himesh.
Yeah.
Dr. Himesh, during your lecture, you discuss about the how to identify plant in our home and the forest area. That identification, how to help our conservation part of the plants. Can you explain briefly how it help to conservation for the plant community?
Actually, first of all, when we take ecosystem conservation or species conservation, you need to know what are the things at that place. Just think about not on you are speaking on species, but you have to conserve the ecosystem. So when you take a certain ecosystem, you need to know what are the major components of that ecosystem. So otherwise you can't make conservation efforts. So let's see, yeah, if because certain plant species have certain niches, that means certain different microhabitats to grow on. If you want to make a forested area in a certain place, you need what are the plant species that are growing in that area. So for that, you need to identify the plants. Because I said that even within a certain forestic zone, you have very different species composition. Let's see, you need to reforest the area around Singharaja, and you are going to reforest the area around Kannelium. So you can't plant the same species composition at those two places. You have to go to that location and survey the surrounding area and identify what are the forestic composition of that area, and according to that, you have to plant those species. One is that if you take when you go to Singaraj area, there's a secondary forest species called Kurumbati, Syzygium rubicunda. That is a very common plant, but Carnelia is not far from there. But you never find Syzygium rubicundum at Carnelia. So if you plant Syzygium rubicundum from if you take Syzygium rubicundum from Singaraj area and then plant it at Carnelia, that won't work. So that's how you need to identify the species for conservation efforts. And other thing is that even within the certain place, you have to select what are the plants growing in low-lying areas and what are the plants that are growing in high areas. For example, if you take Horror, Diprocarpus silenicus, that plant is mostly growing along the streams. So you can't plant them in high ground. You have to plant Buhora, that is Diprocarpus hispidus in high ground, and Diprocarpus silenicus you have to plant in stream side vegetation. So likewise, you need to first of all you need to identify the species composition and then go on to the planting work. So that's one type of conservation efforts you can improve without your knowledge on the identification of the plants. There are certain other things as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Divakar, for the question. Let's see. I believe that's all you people have. If you have any questions, you can ask now. If not, we can wrap up. Okay, and also don't forget to fill the feedback form. We have dropped it in the chat box, and I believe we can wrap up now. I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who joined today's event. Your energy and engagement really made this session special. Big shout out to our speakers, Dr. Himesh Jayasinghe and Mr. Rukmal Rathnayake, for sharing the incredible insights. Thank you for enlightening us and sparking our passion for biodiversity. Also, I have to give a massive thank you from GYBN Sri Lanka team who were there behind the scenes. You guys really rocked today and made everything run smoothly. Pasindu, thank you for leading the Bioblitz project and guiding all of us with the whole procedure. Eshadi, our chapter coordinator, making sure that everything is going so smoothly. You were very kind and very supportive. Lasal, Milakshi, thank you so much for all the support and energy you gave us throughout. Let's keep the momentum going and continue to make that difference in our local environments. I can't wait to catch up with all of you in our next event. Thank you so much. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Good night and see you.
See you. Thank you so much, Rukmal. Thank you so much, Dr. Himesh.